What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. My name is Adam. I am your host. So, on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the Topps update checklist and my thoughts on it overall. I wasn't 100% sure if they were even going to be coming out with this checklist, to be honest, or not the checklist, the product, because in my head, I thought all of the rookies that would have got rookies it's basically based off of the way that they treated some of the 2020 rookies that got called up. And this year was obviously super strange for all sports, but for baseball, I think maybe baseball, probably WNBA more than others, because baseball I think baseball season was affected probably the most I would say baseball and WNBA probably the two that it affected the most, because with baseball, they cut their season more than in half. And I think I don't remember exactly how many games they cut in the WNBA, but for baseball, they cut the season essentially in half. So that kind of limited the rookies that got called up, and I'll be interested to see how they treat this year in the future when it comes to service time, if 4 or 5 years down the road, if there's going to be any type of lawsuits or any type of controversy when a rookie who's coming to the end of the deal, I'm not sure if there's a collective bargaining agreement coming up, but I'm sure that could have some sort of effect on service time, and especially with this year, because I think with the service time, I'm pretty sure it's I think it's 15. I'm not 100% sure I think it's 1/3 of the season or 1/4 of the season that you have to have sat out to then have an extra year, which is super bogus. And if you're the MLB, honestly, if I were the players and I were the Players Association, this is the one thing that I would totally try to take out of whatever the next CBA is, because it's absolutely ridiculous to get an extra year of someone's career when these contracts are 4 to 5, 6 years potentially at the start of someone's career. And to get to the end of that rookie contract and to be a player like a Mookie Betts or to be a player like a Chris Bryant, that they were in the prime of their career, almost 2 or 3 years into their career, and they couldn't even sign a new contract. Now, with arbitration, I'm pretty sure the way that it works, with Mookie Betts, they said that it was the average of all of the top positions, I'm pretty sure, where they played. So I think that's how Mookie Betts he did get paid fine. He got paid fairly well, but realistically, if you're looking at it, last year Mookie Betts could have signed this $30 million a year contract. MLB contracts are very interesting because either they're really, really good when you're on your rookie deal, or they're really, really bad if you sign a 10-year, $30 million, $25 million deal, and you're in the 8th or 9th year of this contract. The contract is just so terrible, and it's pretty wild that somehow, and I think that's probably the reason for the service time thing. If I had to guess, that's probably a big negotiating part where the players want the guaranteed money for the contract throughout the whole contract, and then the owners / general managers want that extra year of service time where they can, which it doesn't realistically, to me, it doesn't make any sense that it's based off of how many games you play, because that just is it's a perfect recipe for them to manipulate that number, because all you have to do, a rookie isn't Chris Bryant. I think they did this with They did it with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. They brought him up 30 games or 20 or 30 games into the season, and they get an extra year. And it's all they did was play 30 games in the minors at the start of that year. So, I would imagine that's got to be those two things. The guaranteed contracts and the service time are probably the two negotiating pieces that each side use when they're trying to figure out contract stuff within the CBA. So definitely weird this year. And The weird thing that ended up happening was that a ton of players got called up, and even though they got called up and maybe they played for a significant portion of the season, or they just started the season on the opening day roster, at the second opening day roster when they actually started the season, some of these players, they weren't going to get rookie card logos. And I think 5-10 games into the season, there were a couple players that made their debut, and I thought that was probably the point where if these players like Nate Pearson, for example, Joe Adell, when they made their debuts and they didn't get the rookie card logo on their debut Topps Now cards, to me, that pretty much signified that they were just, Topps was going to be using next year as the jumping off point for a lot of these rookies, which, if you look at this Topps update, typically the Series 2 and Topps update are when a lot of rookies are getting their first cards in this flagship product, which, in my opinion, you could look at the flagship product or Bowman Chrome as the two most important products for baseball. I think I talked about this on my live stream probably over the weekend. It was probably Friday or Saturday or Sunday, and then the podcast came out. But so that rookie card logo usually is coming for these players. They're typically getting the first one in either Series 2 or Topps Update if they're getting called up throughout the year. Like last year, Series 2 was like loaded. It had Vlad Jr., it had Tatis, it had Alonso, it had Eloy Jimenez. This year, Series 1 was actually the product that was like more loaded, because what ended up happening was they pushed back players like Bo Bichette. They pushed back players who was the rookie of the year last year, Yordan Alvarez. They pushed him back into the 2020 product. So this last Series 1 this year was probably one of the best Series 1. And then I think this upcoming year, that's where I think Series 1 this upcoming year is going to be even better than Series 1 this year because of what happened with a ton of these rookies. So, I mean, like, the Joe Adells, the Nate Pearsons, the Joey Bart, depending on if he makes the roster or not, but like a lot of top prospects who are, some of them are still on the list, some of them aren't on the list anymore. I think maybe Bobby Witt makes his debut. He might make his, actually Bobby Witt I think will probably be in Series 2 if he ends up starting next year in the majors. Same with some of the rookies this year, like I think Torkelson, I think is his name. He plays for Detroit. He was the number 1 pick this year, and I think he's probably, from what I've heard, he'll probably be making his debut at some point, or I forget if he made his debut or not, but he'll probably be getting a card at some point next year, probably Series 2, potentially Series 1, because the interesting thing that I don't know if Topps is in control of this is if they are picking and choosing when these players are getting in, because like I said, last year with Yordan Alvarez, technically there was a cutoff date, and Examine Baseball is a account on TikTok who actually is Nick Danute, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I'm going to have him on the podcast probably in the next week or so. He writes for Forbes, and he is a sports journalist for Forbes, and he writes about cards a lot. And one of the articles he wrote was about the service time / when players get their rookie cards. And there was a specific date in 2019 where somebody for the Cardinals made their debut, and then the next day, Yordan Alvarez made his debut, and then that made him basically, anybody who made their debut after that certain date got rookie cards in 2020 rather than 2019, which I'd be interested. I love looking at data, and I'd be interested to look at the data and see if Topps is because I don't know if there's a rule. This is kind of the big thing. If Topps is deciding when players are getting their rookie cards, I think that can be a dangerous game to play because you're really kind of, for that player's market at least, it's a dangerous game to play. Not like in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it necessarily really matters. Like, I don't think people are not collecting Yordan Alvarez because his rookie is from 2020 and he was the rookie of the year in 2019. And I think that's the same thing that's happening this year with Jake Cronenworth, I think is how you pronounce his name. He was the NL Rookie of the Year, played for San Francisco or San Diego. There's a picture of him and it says, oh, he played for San Diego. It looks like he was traded or something like that. So yeah, like I said, I think it could be a dangerous game to play when it comes to the market. if somebody is very, very knowledgeable about kind of the card market, like somebody who is maybe new or coming in and likes Yordan Alvarez, I don't think they're really going to notice a difference, to be completely honest, but like somebody who maybe knows the market, it could affect it. And I think we're seeing the first couple times that this has really happened where they pulled out players who are rookies of the year, and they're giving them a rookie card the next year. Because like, if I had to guess, I would say that the service time this year, I don't think they officially announced when the actual service time date was, like how many games you had to play for it to count it. But any of the players who were rookies of the year, I'm assuming that this probably counts as 1 year of their service time. So it's going to be weird on their rookie card to have a full year's worth of stats. Where, I mean, like I said, this year is obviously pretty strange, so maybe it won't matter in the long run. But I don't know. It seems to me. Oh, and back to the data point. I would be interested to see the sales data from Series 1, Series 2, and Topps Update. I was talking about Series 2 from last year. That was probably the product to get because it had the 4 big rookies. Then the year before that, 2018, it was Topps Update was the one to get because that's the one with the first Acuna in the regular print run because he has a series... No, Topps Update. Acuna has a Series 2 short print, and then in Topps Update, it was Acuna, Soto, Gleyber Torres. They were all in, and I think, Ohtani was in a different set. But those 3 rookies right there were all in Topps Update in 2018. So that made 2018 Topps Update the product to get. 2019, it was Series 2, and then I think with 2020, it's probably going to be Series 1 is going to be the main product. So I know that I said I was going to talk about the checklist, and it's kind of all this stuff I think is important to that checklist because it kind of explains why the checklist looks the way that it does and why I actually expected that there was maybe not even going to be a Topps Update this year because in my mind, I looked at it and I said, well, what's going to differentiate Topps Update this year versus Series 2 or Series 1? Obviously, other than the fact that it's being released and you can buy it now. That's obviously the main difference. Like Series 1 and Series 2 are probably a little bit harder to find if you're going to like some retail. If you're going to a hobby shop, they should probably still have those products if I had to guess. But and then sorry, again, the data point that I had brought up, I would be interested to see the data from each year sales wise of Series 1, Series 2 and Topps Update and see if there is a huge gap between the sales of Series 1 from Series... And then 2017, Series 1 was probably the one, because Series 1 had like a bunch of different... Had like the... actually 2017 could have been Series 1 or Topps Update, because Series 1 had like Benintendi, Moncada... it had Aaron Judge, but then Topps Update was the product that had the Cody Bellinger. So that could be, I would imagine those products are very similar. Bellinger probably is the most important rookie from 2017, if I had to guess. Moncada being on the White Sox is a team that I really like, and I would be interested to see kind of how he plays going forward. But I'd be interested to look at this data and see each year which product was the most important. And if Topps has the strategy to hold out these players, is that worth the sacrifice they're making for one of the products to then increase the sales? Which also in 2019 Topps Update was pretty good. It had Senzel, it had Keston Hiura. 2019 Topps Update was probably, I'd say it was pretty close to Series 2 in terms of players that were rookies in that year, and then also have been kind of some good players in the league right now. But so I'd be interested to see if holding out Bichette and holding out Yordan Alvarez, it obviously helped the Series 1 sales. But if they keep doing that, at what point do they just go to 2 products? At what point do they just go to a Series 1 and Series 2 and then just come out with Series 1? Because I talked about switching the release schedule in September of switching the days of when these products are going to come out. And if you're Topps, I think that would probably be a pretty big hassle, and I don't know if they would actually do something like this. But to switch it to just a Series 1 and just Series 2, and to see if combining or consolidating maybe some of the product and see if they can increase sales, which Topps flagship is one of probably the most important products for Topps. So I doubt they would want to do this, but I just think that it would potentially give the product and the brand a little bit more equity when it came to that specific rookie card, because when a player has a card in Series 1 and Series 2 and Series 3 and all Topps Update as rookies, I could imagine for a new baseball fan or a new collector, it may be a little bit more confusing than they're willing to really put the time in to understand which card is which. So I would be interested to see if they were to potentially switch it to just Series 1 and Series 2 and then either eliminate Topps Update or just do Series 1 and Topps Update. I don't know what they would call it necessarily, but I think it would be interesting to consolidate it. Like, looking at the data, I'd be interested to see, because flagship is really based off of which rookies are getting their first rookie card in that specific year. So I understand looking at that saying, well, each year has specific rookies that are getting that first rookie card. So there isn't really one that is more important than the other. They're all very important. But this year, Topps Update. So the main reason is this weird season. The main reason why I thought that Update wasn't going to be coming out this year, which, like I said, it was more of just a hot take at the time. I don't really think that I actually thought that Update wasn't going to come out, because, like I said, it's one of the most important products for Topps baseball. One of the reasons I thought it wasn't going to come out was because of what they did with the Topps Now cards, and I think Topps Now would be the main indicator for this one. Nobody that got called up really got a rookie card, because if they had gotten the rookie logo on their Topps Now card, then they would have got it in either Series 2 or Topps Update, but nobody did. So like the Joe Adells, all those people that got called up. Alec Baum, I think, is another one that's been used in promotional materials for next year. These players didn't get a rookie card logo on their Topps Now card, so they're not going to be included in this year's product, and that's basically how you can indicate kind of where Topps is going to choose these players. So I thought there was going to be there's probably a few new rookies if I had to guess, but for the most part, I feel like there aren't really, because I looked over the checklist and I looked at all the rookie cards, and I didn't really see any really significant names that popped up to me. Like, I saw some up, like I think David Price is getting his first Dodger card, and I'm imagining people that got traded, that's kind of where they're going to be putting some of these traded players in their new uniforms. They're probably doing that. But the one thing, and this is kind of almost the point of the whole episode, the one thing that did stick out to me when I was looking at this checklist was they have a prospect insert checklist. So the prospect insert checklist includes Joe Adell, because I saw the Joe Adell card. I was like, wait, he's in, because it was a Topps Update. The checklist came out, and the promotional material that I saw was a Topps Update card of Joe Adell, and I was like, wait, he's supposed to be in the next one. So then I go to the checklist, I search, and he's part of this insert checklist that they're including with. I'm actually just going to pull up the checklist so I can take a look at it and read some of the important names that are on here. You've got Nate Pearson, Wander Franco, Joe Adell, Mackenzie Gore, Brian Hayes, Colton Welker, I think, is a pretty big name. Alec Baum is in this one. Let's see if I can. Alex Kirilloff is on this one. Joey Bart, Dylan Carlson from the Cardinals. And those are the big names. I'm sure other people have other big names from that they looked at that checklist, but I thought that it's kind of interesting. This checklist, like, is that specific? It's a 30 card insert checklist. Like, is this card going to be potentially important for some sort of pre-rookie card? Because it's one of the first times that I think we've seen a mixed set like this, other than like Bowman. Bowman does this, but like a major league checklist or a major league product coming out with prospects that it's not a Bowman checklist. And I thought it was kind of interesting. Like, it makes me think that we may almost see more products with prospects in it. If this product somehow, I don't know how I guess I'm not sure what type of data Topps uses to make to make decisions like this, if they're looking at eBay sales and if they look at all of the inserts and they look at what the most valuable insert that comes out of this checklist is, and if it happens to be this prospect checklist, I wouldn't be surprised if going forward we see other prospect related cards in Topps flagship products or any of the other releases, like, because usually what Topps does is they either do other than Bowman, any type of Bowman product is a mixture, we all know that, but any other products, they're either going to be a major league checklist or it's going to be a minor league checklist. Like they have all of the regular products. I mean, I don't even think I really have to name them. All the regular products that come out, but then they do have a heritage checklist. They have a Topps minor league product or heritage minors, and then they also have a regular flagship with the minors with the minor league logos on them, which I think if Topps wants to contribute to the MLB a little bit more, I think they should try and I think if Topps were to try and do a better job at marketing prospects, like I think this would be a great start if they want to try and do this. If they can get some of these prospects' names more in the limelight, I think that would help the MLB, because anybody who's collecting cards, I think it's kind of on their radar, but the flagship product, I think, that's the type of product that is maybe a baseball fan, but maybe just a regular fan that isn't super hardcore into cards or into the sport. They probably know this card itself, I would say. Bowman Chrome, they probably don't know, but the flagship product is probably the one that the average fan of the sport is probably going to be buying. And if they can get a prospect that has, this will be the other thing. I think what they're going to do is it's not going to be, I think it's an insert, so it's going to be a different design from what I saw from the Joe Adell card. But I think if they were to, in either series, in one of these flagship products, if they were to just take players from the minor league flagship product and just put them in this product and almost combine the checklists in a way, and it could even be an insert. Like you could just say this is an insert, but it's a base insert card for the minor league player. I think that would help people learn who these prospects are. Like, even because I know that Topps has come out with Bowman inserts, and they've done Bowman Topps Now cards, I think, where they talk about the specific prospect, like where they're ranked. But I think somehow educating the casual fan on these prospects may be an interesting way that Topps can actually help the sport, because in my opinion, just from a marketing perspective, that's where I think that's where baseball really has kind of they're a step below most other sports. And most other sports, I'm basically comparing them. Well, actually, I would compare it to football and to basketball. The football and basketball college athletes are maybe more famous than a lot of baseball players in the major leagues, even some superstars in the major leagues. So I think if Topps could help with that kind of thing, that may be a good direction for Topps to go in. Now, is this insert checklist going to make Topps update a product to get? I don't know. I mean, I think, like I said, if Topps is using eBay data to show which insert is the most popular, like which ones are selling for the most, that could potentially be kind of important for them. But like I said, we won't know what that is until the product actually comes out. And that's pretty much all I've got for this episode. So I want to thank you all for listening. If you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure to like the video, because I'm going to be uploading the podcast episodes to YouTube, and I may start recording more videos. I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but the YouTube is going to have some of these episodes now, which I'm pretty excited about, and I've figured out a way to do some thumbnail editing, and I'm doing title research. I don't know. So it's a thing I'm trying to add. So if you're listening to the podcast and you want to go to YouTube and drop a like on the video on YouTube, I would appreciate that as well. I'm not sure when the episodes on YouTube will come out, but if you can remember, if you're on YouTube and you see it pop up, just leave it a like. I would really appreciate that one. If you want to follow on any of the other social medias, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, like I said, YouTube, all those places. I want to thank everyone for listening to this episode, and I will see you in the next one.